Want to know how AI is impacting the Australian labour market? New research is in, and we'll cover what it means for you. In the first half of 2026, WiseTech Global cut around 2,000 roles, roughly a quarter of its entire workforce. And the CEO explicitly tied it to AI automating supply chain management tasks. WiseTech is an Australian company built here, listed on the ASX. Then Atlassian, Sydney founded, globally headquartered, cut 1,600 people. 10% of its workforce, saying it needed to reshape for, quote, the AI era. Some may say it was COVID bloat. The founder noted that employees with transferable skills were spared. Think about what that implies for everyone else. Then Telstra, not a startup, not a Silicon Valley transplant, Australia's largest telco. They cut 650 roles and signalled AI would continue to shrink its workforce through to 2030. And then we look at the global companies with major Australian operations. Amazon cut 30,000 roles globally. Block, Jack Dorsey's company, which had a significant Australian presence, cut 40% of its global staff, and all in the first 6 months of this year. Australia now ranks second worldwide for AI-attributed tech job losses. Sydney ranked third globally in absolute numbers cut, behind San Fran and Seattle. Third in the world. That's not how Australia usually appears in global technology rankings, and it tells you something about how concentrated our tech sector is and how exposed the people in it are. Now let's look at what's actually happening in the broader Australian labour market. Jobs and Skills Australia, the federal government's own labour market research body, published its landmark generative AI capacity study. They're finding Gen AI currently has a greater capacity to augment work than automate it. And that means it's more likely to change how you do your job than to take the job itself. Deloitte Access Economics published their employment forecast in June, 3 weeks ago. They assessed every major occupation in Australia and identified 82 AI-disrupted roles, jobs where the core tasks don't require human judgment, empathy, or interpersonal skills. Jobs like software programmers, ICT trainers, database administrators, test engineers, data entry operators. Here's the finding that is most important in this research. Employment in those 82 roles is still growing today, but job vacancies in those roles have already started falling, and we're seeing this as a repeat pattern. While no one has pressed the red panic button, we can see some early signals the pipeline's drying up. Companies are not firing their existing software programmers and data administrators. They're just not replacing them when they leave, and they're not hiring new ones. This is a quiet version of disruption and not one that's easy to spot. Without AI factored in, Deloitte forecasts employment growth in AI-disrupted occupations to slow from 1.9% annually to 1.2%. With AI factored in, it's down to 0.5%. So you're sitting there and thinking, well, I'm not in tech. The layoffs of WiseTech, Atlassian and Telstra, I don't work for those. And that's only a few thousand workers in a labour market of 14 million Australians. There's a bigger story here about what's happening to the invisible middle. Deloitte found that AI-disrupted occupations are concentrated in the financial and insurance services, professional and scientific services, and information media, not tech companies. The industries that employ the bulk of Australia's educated mid-career professionals, just like you. PwC's global analysis specifically called out Australia by name. They found that 50% of advertised jobs in Australia fall into what they call the democratised track. So these are roles where AI makes it easier for a less experienced person to do what you do. Only 25% are in the professionalised track, roles where AI is making your expertise more valuable, not less. Australia has a higher proportion of democratised roles than most comparable economies, and PwC named Singapore and Malaysia as countries doing national subsidised AI training programs before pointing directly at Australia and saying we need to think just as seriously about making AI capability accessible to broader groups of workers. So if you're mid-career, 10, 15, 20 years into a professional career in Australia, what does that actually mean for you? First, you're probably not about to be laid off. There are plenty of restructures. The economy is tight. We've got a global crisis every 5 minutes. So companies are not just responding to AI, it's also the wider economic conditions. The data is clear that Australia's AI disruption is showing up in reduced hiring, not mass redundancies. For existing employees right now, AI is augmenting more than it's replacing. Second, the roles being quietly closed are in your sectors: finance, insurance, professional services, information media. If you're in one of those industries, the vacancy data, not the employment data, is your early warning signal, and it's already moving. Third, the question for your career isn't will AI take my job? It's is the work I do something a company needs a human to carry the responsibility for? That seems to be the dividing line between the two tracks right now, and knowing which track you're on determines everything about what you do next. Australia is not immune. We are second in the world right now for AI-attributed tech job losses. Our 82 most disrupted occupations are already seeing vacancy declines. None of this means your career is over. There's definitely a change coming, and you can't afford to ignore it. We are already seeing the impacts of AI, and we are on the AI acceleration curve. It's not going to slow down. And the bubble probably won't burst. If you want to figure out specifically where you sit, which track your role is on, and what to do about it, we built an AI exposure audit for exactly that. The link's in the description. Subscribe if this was useful and spread it like the jam, career jam, with someone who needs to hear it. I'm Beck, and I'll see you next week.